Page 69, The Heart of Worship. 4/4 time. Again, this is in the key of F major. All the B's are flatted. We got 16th notes to deal with. What I'd like to do on this one, if possible, I'll just count at 1 and 2 in, and we'll feel 2 16th notes in there. Like in the first measure there in the right hand, 1 and 2 and 3. So just, we know it's a and a 3 E and a. So I just feel it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and playing on the ands of the beats again. Second measure on the 8th notes, 3 and 4 and 1 and. Now second line, that dotted quarter note is the same as the quarter rest, 8th rest in the first line, except we're playing something. So those 16th notes still come on the and of 2. So it's 1 and 2 and. So don't get confused about that. It's the same rhythm as the first measure, except we happen to be playing a note instead of resting. That's all. And you get this rhythm in various places. So the second measure is, or second line is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. Third line down, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. So you get this a lot. Just page 70, irons out a little bit. 1 and 2 and, don't forget the B flats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Third finger on that one. Fifth finger or fourth finger, whichever on the B flat, I don't care. Second line, last notes, third finger on that one. If you're going to do that, I suggest a thumb on that G. So on the second line, if you're here, substitute the thumb or the fourth finger, it's easier, thumb, and then cross over third finger. And then in the third line down, in the second measure, you can do a crunch up and put fourth finger on the A. There. And then last line, they're saying third finger. Fourth finger's fine if you want to use it. Just know you got to go up to the D. And then their finger's okay. Last measure gets a little tricky here because now we're adding more notes. 2/5 there, and I'm recommending, see they're saying 1/4 top of page 71. I'm recommending stick with 5, stick with 2, leave 2 on the G, and you can come down with 5 again if you want, and then here, and then thumb on the F. And then on the next measure, the last note of that F, the last note in the measure, a 2 on that, or a 3, each one. And do the same fingering on the next line. 2. Then we just got to get the rhythm. Again, top of page 71. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 3 and 4 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 1. You get that one, I hope. Last line down here. Here. I recommend for the B flat G a 2/5. Hold the C down and just come across. And then 1/4. If your hand's big enough. If you can handle this, your hand's big enough, you can do that. I'm just connecting. That's what I want. pedal to help out. This is a little more advanced kind of fingering. Otherwise, you're going to do 1/5 on all of them, and I'm trying to get you to use a little more advanced fingering than that. On the left hand, keep the left hand soft. It's just quarter note. Just moving around a little bit. So fine. In the first measure, second line, you can do a 5/4/2 if you want. So forth. Last measure on page 69, they're saying here. And then come down here. No. I want all of that legato. So here, reach down, second finger on the C. Now you're in position. So put the second finger on the C. Top of page 70. Second measure, you can do a 4/2 here if you want. You don't have to do a 5/3. Again, second line. 2/4. And just keep doing that at the bottom of the page. It's similar to what you've had. And lift up and go up. You don't have to. Last line on page 70, you can do this. And then when you go on, you do a 3/5, and then a 4, because you got an E coming up. So at the last measure on page 70, it's here, then a 4, then a 5, then a 4. See, I'm using the 4 to lead into the next note, because the next note goes down, assuming your hand's big enough. I hope it's big enough. You can use a 2 on the B flat if you want, although it's probably easier if you use thumb. And here you can use 5, you don't have to use 4 because it's not leading into another note because you got the A in the way. Second line, first note, I recommend a 3 on that. It's what we had before. So forth. Last line down there. And then come down. That's fine. Then put the hands together. Tricky part will be the rhythm in the right hand, trying to focus. You can see which notes are lining up with the left hand as the left hand plays. Is it at the top of page 70? Starting with the chorus, it's the last measure on page 70. It gets a little trickier. Careful. See, the hands are playing opposite each other. Repeat back to the other page. The last line on page 71 is here. I'm going to hold that for fermata 4 extra counts when I do it with a metronome. Now we need to add the pedal to smooth this out. It's not running around as much. There's not as many so we can pedal this for the most part either once each measure or once each 2 beats for the most part. So at the beginning on page 69, it's legato pedal. Basically, it's pedal, change it on each measure. So second line, second measure with the last beat, with those 2 eighth notes are by themselves, I don't pedal those. So that measure is here. And at the end of the page, the last 2 eighth notes, I don't pedal those. Those are by themselves. At the top of page 70. First measure is every 2 beats. And the next measure, I don't pedal the last 2 beats. Again, every 2 beats. Don't pedal the last beat. Here you almost have to pedal every beat at the top of page 71 to help clean that out. Otherwise it gets way too mushy. If I hold it down for the whole measure on that first measure on page 71, that's too much. Ugh. So on that measure and any other measure like it, I'm going to pedal every beat. So again, start with the chorus at the bottom of page 70. It's here. Here, for the most part, it's the whole measure, but you can change it every 2 beats if you want. So again, the second measure, second line on page 71, change it every beat. Third line down, second measure, don't pedal the last beat. Like so. And then the last line, just again, you're starting to die away here and get slow. I guess the first measure would be every 2 beats. Every 2 beats, and then here. And at the end, the pedal and the hands come up at the same time. You have to experiment with the pedaling and see what you like. Don't get too complicated with it, but don't let it get mushy. Listen very critically. This is again why we learn to play these pieces without pedals, so we can actually hear them and hear what our fingers are doing. So when you do add pedal, you more clearly understand the effects it's having. I'm going to do a play with me. If you want to play along, go ahead. I'm going to do page 69. I'm going to stop and turn the page, and I'm counting it again, and do the other pages. At the bottom of page 71, I'm not going to repeat. I'm just going to play the whole page straight through. So if you'd like to play along, go ahead. I'm going to give myself 4 counts. 1 and 2 and ready and go, and 1 and 2. Stop, turn the page, 1, 2, ready and go, and